Hey y'all, let's talk about men. Specifically, let's talk about what happens every single time I put 4 men on my books. Inevitably, I always get someone who says, oh, 4 men only? How dare you suggest that women shouldn't read your books? As if women's fiction hasn't been a named genre for years. Come on, guys. But here's why I do it, and ultimately it comes down to reader expectations and genre tropes. I write men's romance. I'll be starting a separate women's romance pen name next year. Why not put all the books on the same name? Because while the goals are the same for the readers, the journeys are different. The kinds of details and storytelling styles they enjoy are different. Women's romance has been an established giant in publishing for decades. It's had time to develop a huge number of subgenres and specific reader expectations for those subgenres. Now for men's romance, arguably men's romance has been around in some form for years, but it didn't really start concentrating into its own acknowledged genre until really the past decade or so, primarily with the emergence of harem books. So it is beginning to explore a novelty sort of relationship called mono-romance. God, I love this genre. There are 2 things that unite both men's and women's romance. All romance, regardless of audience, comes down to the reader wanting to feel loved and therefore reading about characters who get to feel loved. But what the journey to that love looks like is different for both audiences. The only other consistent similarity I found is the theme of protectiveness. Women like to read about protective men, and men like to read about protective heroes. But again, the journeys to it and expressions of it are wildly different. Women, we love the drama. We love the push and pull and dramatic breakups and men coming back groveling, and man do we love some really unhinged sex. Harem fantasy adventure's definition of romance is entirely different. In general, men do not want relationship strife in their fiction in the same way that women do. They want their main characters to be big, competent heroes, often hyper-competent heroes, and they want them to go on adventures with badass women who are absolute ride or dies. The vast majority of the conflict in men's romance, or at least the subgenre that I write in, is external to the relationship. The relationship is a solid, safe place the hero can return to when literal demon lords are at his doorstep. If I were to vastly oversimplify both, women's romance is a twisty-turny pretzel of dramatic complication, and men's romance is basically Indiana Jones with more ass. So it's not that I don't want women reading my books. I actually have a pretty huge readership of women, and couples for that matter, because of the way I characterize my female leads. But I specify for men because men's romance is where over-the-top action-adventure pulp-style romance has concentrated. And I like writing rollicking adventure as much as I like writing supportive romances. And the current genre expectations for men's romance are exactly that.